Hi, it's Rod Solar from Lucy Solar Healthcare Marketing, and this is a special message to all of the ophthalmologists, the cataract and refractive surgeons out there who are dealing with an unprecedented crisis. We're all very, very aware of your current situation and the sacrifices you're needing to make. Many of you are having to close down your clinics, um, perhaps even have to be at home right now. Some of you perhaps have been, are a little bit of a hybrid situation where you've been seconded to NHS work or work in the public service. Some of you perhaps are in the early stages of this thing, and wherever you are, and you're perhaps, just about to close your clinic, it's coming, whether it's, voluntary or mandatory. Your primary concerns, absolutely no doubt, are your patients' health and safety. We appreciate that and applaud you for the steps that you're taking to make that work. Secondly, of course, you're dealing with your staff and ensuring that your staff are well protected and cared for, and you're ensuring that the decisions you make are going to have the minimal impact on their lives as possible, given the circumstances of this crisis. And of course, you got to deal with all the business concerns, the creditors, the folks who want rent, the people who want payments on their leases and things like that. That's a vital concern. Now, while you have a moment, while you're watching this video, clearly you have a moment to breathe, and I'm glad for that, because it's in these moments where you have an opportunity to think clearly, to not necessarily think in the here and now, but to consider what's to come. And perhaps you've thought personally, obviously those concerns are always most important and most central about the safety of your loved ones and the safety of yourself. But I also want you to take a moment to think about the safety of your clinic, your practice, or in some cases your hospital. I want you to get into a little bit of a mindset change, because it's entirely possible that you, like every other human on this planet, probably had a moment of panic, and that's only natural, and I think it'd be undeniable to suggest that that everyone has avoided that completely. But regardless of where you are in your path, I want to assure you that this too shall pass. That's the number one thing that I want you to get from this video, is this too shall pass. And that's not understating the severity of the situation. That's not underplaying the unprecedented global nature of this crisis. This is absolutely massive, absolutely huge. We all understand that and appreciate that. But every crisis that's occurred in the past, there has been a period of dramatic loss, followed by a period of gain. And if history serves to teach us lessons, those gains have always been superior to the losses that we faced. So, no one knows the future, and potentially this might be different, but I think it's important to hope for the best, while at the same time planning for the worst. The second thing I want to make sure that you take away from this message is that you can make it. This is not by any stretch, one of those. A death sentence for your private practice. This is absolutely manageable. There are opportunities that exist today, given our technology, given our knowledge, given our relationships, that we can take in order to manage through and to certainly slow down in this period, but then as if we're approaching a curve, accelerate out of the bottom of this curve, so that we can regroup and return to the life we once knew. I want to assure you that's what the winners do. The winners, they plan ahead, they plan for the future, and they ensure that they're prepared once all the dust settles, once all the fires are put out, that they turn their attention to what's about to come. Now, I strongly believe that there are going to be leaders out of this, there are going to be winners, and there are going to be losers. I mean, that happens in every single crisis. And again, I mean, when you're dealing with healthcare crisis like of this nature, by no stretch am I saying, am I conflating the human loss that's going to occur with some of our business concerns? I mean, that all of the business stuff is secondary to the humanity in this. But with that said, I very strongly believe that this might be, in fact, the moment for which you were made. I know certainly that this is, without a doubt, the moment for which I was made. And how do I know this? Because Laura and I, in our business, have, we haven't had the easiest time in the world. We've dealt with the dot-com bubble, the emergence of the internet, 9/11, the 2008 crisis. Every single challenge has had an upturn following it, coming out of it. So I believe that this will be no different. And I believe that those who rise to this challenge demonstrate the leadership that is necessary to see what's to come and to plan and navigate through this are those who persist and who survive. And I believe that you can be one of those people. I know I am, and I hope you'll be with me. Number 4, look, we have a plan. And that was the very first thing that we did when we started realizing, while we never denied that this was going to be serious, I'll be honest with you, I don't think anybody could have predicted how significant this would have been. Our life is changing on a daily basis. And here's the thing, Laura and I, we got together, we sat down, and we basically self-isolated for like 2 whole days over a weekend. And we said, we got to figure this out for our clients. We have to have, they're busy putting out fires. They're busy, trying to, deal with staff. They're trying to, address their own safety and their patient safety. This is our moment while we're here, while we can, to come up with a plan for them. And that's specifically what we did. And we didn't let ourselves out until we had a plan. And we looked at the market, we looked at the future, we looked at the models, we looked at the statistics, we looked at the experience in China, we looked at the experience in Italy, and we did our very, very best to project what would happen into the future. And that's been the result that has been shared out in our blog post that we wrote, 4,000 word blog post that I believe is probably the biggest and most important blog post we've ever written. And that post laid it down in terms of what we see is coming and how to get through it. And that's the plan that we're giving freely to everyone. And we've shared that, and we hope that you take advantage of that. Go to our website, livecsolar.com, and you will find that blog post sticky at the top. So, read that freely, and that's yours to do what you want to do with. We've had enormous amounts of positive feedback on that post. So what that tells me is, yeah, it's nice to get a pat on the back, but in reality, what I know is that it's true, that people read it and they know it's true. And so I want you and encourage you to go and have a look at that blog post, read it in full. It's a long read, but hey, some of us have a lot of time. So get on that first and foremost. That's the plan. Number 2, I know that some of you want to hear this in perhaps more detail, and want to have an opportunity to have some of your questions answered. So look, we've decided to put on a webinar, and that webinar is taking place on Thursday. Sure, we're London based. It's happening at 4 o'clock in London. That's great. But listen, I've had questions, hey, I'm American. Is it cool if I attend? Will there be something in it for me? I've had people from different medical device companies contact me and say, hey, is it okay if I share this? Yes, absolutely. Everybody should come. If you're involved in cataract surgery, if you're involved in laser refractive surgery, you got to be at this thing, okay? Because this is going to lay it down. If you haven't read the blog post, if you don't have time to read, this hour is going to lay it down for you, and it's going to be really, really clear as to what this future is going to look like and what you need to do. We spent the time to figure this thing out. Do we have all the answers? No. Do we have a crystal ball? No. But we have the best educated guess because we've taken the time and we've looked at everything that's happened in the past and thought about what's going to happen in the future. And we very strongly believe that this is true. So join us for that webinar. The link is either up at the top or down below. Join us for that webinar. You can register now. It's 100% free. We are giving this information freely, okay? Now, there will be further opportunities. If you can't make the webinar, read the blog post. If you can't read the blog post and because you're totally tied up right now, read it later. But look, there's going to be further opportunities too. I'm not coming out here and saying, look, this is a time limited offer, you know, get in now or lose out. Look, first movers are definitely going to have an advantage. That's no question about that. But if you have to be a second mover, then fine. Look, I understand that. We're going to make that webinar available again. And we're going to have more events. So look, you know, in your time, at your pace works for us. But with that said, do not waste a day, because timing is absolutely everything in this situation. Things are moving so quickly. And now is the time to look beyond what's happening right now, look into the future, and take action. So with that said, I urge you to register for that webinar. The original count that I had expected was 100 people. I was like, you know, it'd be great, you know, but people are so busy. You know, I know what refractive surgeons are like. It's one of the toughest things to get them all in one room together, right? Especially online, right? I mean, you guys go to AskChris, you go to AskChris, you know, you'll go to the nice hotspots and things like that, you know, because you got a lot of stuff to do there. But for marketing and for practice development, you know, like that's going to be tough. Well, my original estimate was less than 100 people. Well, we blew that away after a day. So right now, currently, as I speak, and the numbers are ticking up as I speak, we have 180 people registered. So I gotta make a bigger room. So look, this is going to be big. This is probably going to be the biggest event this week for ophthalmologists globally. So register, come out, be there, get your questions answered, ask the questions, and we'll see you through this together. And you know, like I said, you know, key points. In summary, this too shall pass. You can make it. This might be the moment you were made for. We have a plan, and we're giving that plan to you freely. So here it is. Register right now, and we'll see you there.